Hey guys, welcome back to another shared news from home. We have so many exciting Bachelorette updates we cannot wait to discuss. But before we get into it, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future lives. As always, I'm your host, Fiona Zaring, and I'm joined by the wonderful Gabby Ganta and Avery Grooms.
Hello.
Hey. Hello. So we have a lot of new information to discuss, you guys, and everyone tuning in, we of course want to know your thoughts. So if you're joining us live, be sure to let us know your thoughts and any questions you might be having in the chat. We'll check that out in a little bit. You guys, let's kick things off with these new details from Chris Harrison on why ABC decided to wait to announce that Tayshia would be joining the season. First of all, he revealed there definitely was a strategy in place, and they felt that this was the best way to keep things interesting for fans. He said, quote, "It was fun for us and challenging to try to decide how and if we were going to lean into the rumors and lean into what happened. Even if things get spoiled or you might know what's going on, you don't really know." He also explained the main reason they decided to wait to announce officially was out of respect for Clare, saying, quote, "Clare needed to be allowed to drive the show and be in charge. It's tough to come up with a plan when you're dealing with someone who's going to make the ultimate decision for you. She can't necessarily be in the planning stages of that." So you guys, I'm so curious to hear your thoughts on this strategy. I know we've talked about it a lot. Do you think it was the right call to keep it a secret? Did you like the suspense? And do you feel like it was the right choice to, stay loyal to Clare and give her this moment? What are your thoughts, Gabby?
Yeah, it seems silly looking back, knowing that sort of all the rumors that we thought were going to happen are coming true. But it makes sense that they wanted to do this and be fair for Clare, because if we knew for sure that Tayshia was coming on and all of this was going down, it wouldn't have been as exciting. And I don't think we would have given our full attention to Clare like she deserved for the first half of this Bachelorette season. What about you, Avery?
I agree. I think it was a great strategy by keeping it a secret just to add that suspense while also staying loyal to Clare, because as we know, Clare is so firm and she's going to say what she wants and at the end of the day do what she wants. So they're going to be loyal to her while also giving her what she wants as well. So I think it all actually worked out how they did this new format and flowed to the best it could.
I totally agree, you guys. I think that, you know what, at the end of the day, Clare was the Bachelorette, and whether or not her journey was conventional, it still was her journey as the Bachelorette. So I love that they kind of gave her that moment. And now, whatever path we take with Tayshia, there is part of it that was, not revealed. Part of it's going to be new. Part of it's going to be exciting. And we love that. We live for that. Tayshia obviously made quite a first appearance this season in that pool reveal moment on her new podcast with Hannah Ann and Grocery Store Joe. She played it coy when reacting to that moment. And I think this is going to become one of the most iconic moments in Bachelor history, period. Let's take a look at what she had to say.
Listen, I don't know what you guys are talking about. All I know is that I love Palm Springs. I love La Quinta. I vacation there. It's summer. It's hot. It was a pool. I was just swimming around. I don't know what you're referring to.
So to recap, basically she was playing it super coy, super casual. She was like, what? I was just splashing around. It was no big deal. I mean, obviously she looked gorgeous. It was such a moment. What did you guys think when you saw this for the first time? What was your initial reaction, Avery?
When I saw the pool moment for the first time, I was just like, yes, thank you. Finally, it's actually happening. I felt like all my answers or all my questions were being answered. And I liked how they did the pool approach instead of the limo. Like, this season has been very different and we're now doing a pool entrance instead of a limo entrance. Love that. And I also liked how her response was so nonchalant. It reminded me of how Chris Harrison answers a lot of the questions about the show. Not too direct, but just perfect. I'm looking so forward to this. What about you, Gabby?
I think this pool moment was so fun. We know Tayshia's personality to be so bubbly and just happy, sunshiny all the time. So I think this was a perfect way to introduce her, and different than a limo entrance scenario, but we have seen teaser clips of her still getting her limo moment, and I'm sure that's exactly what goes down when she meets her guys for the first time. So she'll get a little bit of both, but I thought this pool moment was just iconic and totally sets the scene for the next half of the season.
Absolutely.
So cute.
Obviously, I mean, I think it goes without saying, I think we are all so excited to see Tayshia start her journey. But I don't know about you guys, but I've already been thinking ahead. I'm already getting to like the very end of all of this, and I have been so excited for the prospect of a men tell all moment, because I feel like this season more than ever, I have been dying to know what has been going on inside their heads. Sort of bummer-ish news, though. Not totally bad news quite yet, but Chris revealed that it is not a done deal. We do not have a guarantee at this moment in time of a men tell all happening, but they are working on it. Chris said, quote, "We want to deliver that for everybody. I can't promise anything, but we are desperately trying to pull something together." He went on to explain that they're trying to avoid doing it virtually. There's a lot of guys. It's going to be, I mean, that would be like, what, a 20-way Zoom at least? Like, that would be very, very difficult. And, with delays and stuff, he basically was like, I don't like the aesthetic of it. I don't want that. We want it to be in person. That is the ideal version. Of course, though, in order to make that happen, they have to come up with a strategy, a plan, a way they can lock it down and, keep everybody safe. He also mentioned they understand. They are behind the scenes, get it. They know that this season, of all seasons, we want to hear the men spill the tea. He said, quote, "If there was ever a season where we needed to tell all, this is it. There is a lot to tell all." So I'm curious to know your take. Gabby, how bummed would you be if this just doesn't happen, if they can't make it work?
I would be really bummed. I think we all got really excited when producer Rob Mills told us that it was happening, or sort of confirmed that it was in the works. So everyone's excited about it. We really want to hear from these guys. I think if Chris has anything to do with it, I'm sure they'll make it happen. I can totally see how doing it virtually is just a pain and not the same, because everybody is just always talking at once during those shows to begin with. It's hard to follow. So online it would be even much harder. But I feel like they can pull it off. And either way, I feel like these guys are going to take to social media or like create their own vlogs or like a tell-all situation where we can hear their side of the story no matter what. I feel like that's in the cards for these guys. What about you, Avery? What do you think?
I think they will definitely pull this off and come up with a strategy. As we know, these producers can pull anything off. And I feel like not having a men tell all is definitely not an option in this case. Like, we have to have that. And when it does happen, I feel like that'll almost be a point where we get to know the guys even more than on Clare's journey, because we haven't even got to know them as much as usual. So it's so needed. And I know they're going to make it happen one way or another.
I totally agree. I think all of Bachelor Nation is looking for this. They don't let us down. I mean, there is a pandemic, you guys, and they figured out a way to get us a Bachelorette and a Bachelor. And in that Robert Mills interview, he mentioned, there is hope for paradise. So they are working to figure things out for us. We all just have to keep our fingers crossed. Think positive thoughts. Okay, last but not least today, we have some new details about how Clare is coping with the spotlight and all the hate that comes with it now that the episodes, are actually airing and this has all sort of started. Clare's friend, Michelle Money, told Us Weekly, quote, "When I spoke to Clare the other day, she was really struggling, having a hard time. But this is what's amazing about Clare. She's like, all these people are giving me hate. I just want to help them heal. I want to help them. There's been some hate, there's been some negativity, but Clare just wants to show up and help lift everyone up." Michelle, interestingly enough, you guys, also added fuel to the rumors that producers may not be giving Clare the best edit. She said, quote, "Clare spent an equal amount of time with every single one of those guys. That's what's frustrating. You don't get to see the whole story. The way that they're editing this storyline is so out of context. It's just so frustrating as her friend." Do you really honestly think that she wasn't talking about any other guy? So there's so much to unpack here. Starting off, let's talk about the hate of it all. Let's talk about the negativity. Obviously, hate is never okay. We never condone it. That is, there are lines that should not be crossed. But I think it is sort of safe to say that Clare is a strong personality. She is a different type of bachelorette than we've seen in a while. And I feel like we've all known from day one, people were either going to love her or, for lack of a better word, hate her, even though, we're not approving hate over here. Avery, what are your thoughts on Clare and, people's opinions on Twitter and how things have sort of taken a bit of a turn?
Well, from what I've seen and from the editing, I feel like she's had a lot of immature moments, but the way she's handling this hate and just wanting to help and heal, I think that's so mature and just taking like the high road, because that's not easy and she's getting a lot of it. So I feel for her in that way. And her friend Michelle brought up a great point. How is she not talking about any other guy while she's the Bachelorette? So I definitely agree in terms of editing. They've definitely played on a certain narrative and we're only seeing one story, as we know. And I think just especially this time more than usual, just because of the circumstance of this season. What are your thoughts, Gabby?
I think any celebrity that is in the spotlight like this for an extended period of time and puts themselves out there is just in the public eye, and they're going to get those hate comments, unfortunately. I think we can take Dale's advice and just focus on who matters, what matters, and she just needs to block all of that out, because at the end of the day, she just wants to be happy. As long as she has that, that's the most important. And, us as the viewers, we obviously want that for her too, so.
Of course. I mean, I think it's safe to say that the majority of Bachelor Nation wants Clare to find love. We all signed on. We were like, all right, she's our Bachelorette. This is what we root for. Whether you love someone's personality as much as, Bachelorettes or Bachelors in the past, we're still on board, right? Like, we want them to end up in love. I do think it's really, really interesting that Michelle is sort of talking about how she obviously was talking about other guys. She obviously was spending equal time with other people, and they aren't showing us that. But ultimately, not that I'm calling Michelle out, but I want to play the role of devil's advocate conspiracy here for a second.
Yeah.
If she really wasn't on such a specific path with Dale, that she was really putting her heart equally into all of it, I just don't see how we end up here, right? I mean, there's got to be something, right? So, Gabby, do you think it's safe to say that perhaps it sort of lies in the middle? Maybe she gave more time to the guys than we're seeing, and they're editing her a little harshly. But how do we end up here with her having to walk away early if she wasn't, so in love with Dale? What are your thoughts?
Totally. I think having a bad edit in these shows is a common story that we hear from contestants of this show. And I think it's the producer's job to just go with whatever story is going to be the best for reality TV, for the viewers. So I think you're right that it's probably a middle ground area where Clare was giving some more attention to the guys and being a little bit more fair, but the producers saw her clear interest in Dale specifically and just really, really ran with that. So I think that's how we ended up where we are now.
I totally agree. Avery, what are your thoughts? Do you think the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle?
I think it does lie somewhere in the middle, but at the same time, we've seen her give Dale specifically more attention than we've really seen any other Bachelorette from the beginning. So I think it's somewhere in the middle. Obviously, a lot of editing took part in this, but at the same time, day one, he walked out of the limo and she was already set to leave with him. So it goes both ways.
So true. All right, you guys, we of course want to know your thoughts on this, on everything else. We want to get to as many questions as well as we can. Want to head over to the chat. If you have any thoughts, feelings, comments, concerns, let us know. We're going to try to get through as many of these as possible, because ultimately we are all on this journey together. I mean, let's be real. There's always going to be more to discuss. Let's see if we've got anything going on. Okay, I'm going to kick things off. I hope I say your name right. Zella Hopper, sorry, I'm sure that's not right. She put, I hope they both find love. I'm assuming we're talking about Clare and Tayshia. And I totally hope they both find love, right? I mean, again, that's why we're all here. We want to see the love.
All right, Rebecca says, an ABC exec confirmed on Nick Viall's podcast that there will be a men tell all. Yes, so we covered this in a video. We talked all about this. He says there will be a men tell all. Chris Harrison just said they're really working hard on it, but they can't promise anything. So there's a little bit conflicting ideas right there. But I mean, these are the top people on this show, and they're really working to make this happen. So hopefully it will.
All right. Kinsey said, how many men, how many boxes? That wouldn't work virtually. No, I totally agree. It would not work virtually. It'd be a huge mess. Men tell all has to be a in-person, face-to-face connection type thing to just get everything out there and clear the air. That's what it's all about. And you can't do that virtually, especially with technical difficulties. So as we said earlier, I know they'll figure something out.
All right, Shasta says, I hope Dale ends up deserving all her attention. Oh my God, this is such a great point. I have thought about this. I run anxious, you guys. I am like, what if Clare puts all of her eggs in Dale's basket and the connection just isn't what she thinks, or it just doesn't end up working out? You kind of get one shot at this. So I'm totally with you. I hope it doesn't end up being all for nothing.
Chris says, will Yosef get to say anything? I think he will be one of the guys that we're looking forward to hearing his comments the most, just because he was one of the extremes, one of the extreme guys on this season. That would be interesting for sure. I'm sure he'll be there.
All right, Kinsey again said, so you guys think it's possible Dale and Clare knew each other and that they had something to do with her season ending? It is possible, but I don't know. I don't know the truth.
It's tough. That's a tough one.
It seems like they did know each other before the show, but that could just be love at first sight.
Anything is possible. Let's see if we have time for a few more here. Let's see what's up. Anything else? Oh, great. Okay, Teddy. Teddy says, do you think Tayshia ends up with reality? Steve said that she didn't have an happy ending. So do we think Tayshia ends up in love? You know what? I love reality, Steve. Once the season's on, I try to tune him out. I try not to look too consistently because I feel like at this stage of the game, spoilers kind of ruin the fun a little bit. I love to speculate. I do hope Tayshia finds love. I think, you know, maybe what Steve means is she doesn't walk away engaged. If they stuck to the same production schedule, that means she didn't have as much time in theory because Clare was there in the beginning. So maybe we don't end up in engagement, but maybe she makes some great connections. I don't know. Obviously just speculating, but I hope she ends up in love.
Mindy says, are they together now? Clare and Dale, I'm assuming. And this is the big question that we're waiting to find out about. I don't know if we'll hear about it until maybe they get on after the final rose or something like that, when we can actually talk to them, you know, in this October or whenever it airs, this moment right now, where they are, what they're doing right now. But hopefully, because all of this went down and they found each other, I hope they're still together now.
All right, that is all of the questions we had time for today. That wraps us up for this live. You guys, if we didn't get to your comment or to your question, just let us know in the comments because we are dying to hear all of your thoughts about this season. It truly is one of the craziest yet. If you haven't already, subscribe to our channel and ring the bell. Make sure you do so you don't miss any future lives, any future recaps. We're talking Bachelorette over here all the time, so make sure you subscribe. As always, I'm your host, Fiona Zaring. You can follow me on socials at Fiona Zaring. Gabby, where can they find you?
You can follow me at Gabby Gonta. What about you, Avery?
You can follow me at Avery Grooms.
Amazing. Thank you guys for joining us, and thank you guys for watching. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.